hi to everybody. Say hi. Hello, Pleiadian Tarot Lati, Sally, Jazz, Brooklyn. Hello, guys. How are you? Oh, wow. We have Denmark. Let's see. Where is that music? To kind of like put it a little bit down. China. Where are you from, guys? Aquarius from South Carolina. Nice. Hi, Dallas, Texas. Hi, Brooklyn. I am boiling, guys. I had a week from hell, and it looks like I'm kind of like going to have that prospect for quite a while. Majority of electricity in my apartment died, so I actually literally have one plug that works, and that's where the computer is, luckily. But it's horrible for sleeping, and like I have like really starry nights right now because I have to go to bed like when it's kind of like dark. So there is a heat wave. Do you know, like, we actually today is, oh, I don't know what is in Fahrenheit. I can actually check. It's going to be 45 degrees with humidity. 45 to Fahrenheit would be 113, and this is what I need to deal with. It's absolutely horrible. Okay, let me just put this fan toward me to kind of like be able to go through. And plus we have Canada Day in Canada tomorrow, and then Americans have their 4th of July soon, so there is like a big celebration. Alrighty, guys, how have you been the last week? Hopefully it was better for you. And I think this is simply Mercury retrograde really working and affecting kind of like all this electricity. So fun. Let's take this away. I hate summer. I actually don't like summer to start, and my summer usually is, believe it or not, I stay in. I become very, let's call it, antisocial, because, well, I do get together with friends. We go somewhere on the patio in the evening. That's different, but I really, this heat is kind of really hard for me to handle, and this is kind of very unusual. Hi, Dean, how are you? Everybody is here, and then basically I just hyperventilate. And good news, in the summer I love the food and all this kind of like local farmers. I'm planning today to go with my friends to a strawberry farm, so air conditioning in a car. Great stuff. So Scorpio is doing well. So we have North America, we have Europe. What else do we have here? Come on, guys, let's go. Continents. Oh, I love strawberries. Like, berries are my favorite fruit. So what I do, I kind of like freeze them and sort of like just squish them, and that's kind of like my spread, right, on a cracker or something. So that's my jam. Quebec, bonjour. Singapore, oh, that's right, Jazz. Like, what time is in Singapore right now? Oh, what time is it there? Lati, like, you have year-round stuff over there. Even though when I was in Cuba in October, they kind of like didn't really have lots of vegetables. They didn't have tomatoes, and that was kind of like really big surprise. Okay, so it's not that horrible. So you're 12 hours ahead exactly. So shall we start, guys? I'm sorry, I was like really out of myself on Thursday. I wanted to have the full moon reading, but it was just like too much. I was like moving the furniture, trying to get to all the plugs, trying to see if there is like a break somewhere. They actually did find it finally, that is on a fuse box, but because this is an old apartment, the fuse boxes like this don't exist, so they have to wait for the next week to actually try to find some kind of alternatives. Lovely. So, UK, and full moon was lovely because, you know what, it's kind of funny when you're in a dark, like third world kind of like style, and you're actually looking at a full moon. It was kind of like really, really lovely. So, oh my gosh, Brooke, why? Yeah, full moon does it. Full moon does it. And sorry for all the guys, but usually full moon, especially if you are before the time of the month, it can kind of like really, really affect it. So, Philly, look at that. Oh really, Dean? Like, I mean, actually I think it was like the same thing. Well, I did have clouds that was kind of making it even more romantic, but sort of like this thin slices of clouds. It was kind of like was good. So I'm trying to kind of like make lemonade out of lemons that I currently am going through. And the good thing about it is the nature, right? So my brother is saying, oh, just like get out, get out, get out, kind of like move to Niagara, because I can probably go and live with my dad until this is fixed, but then you don't have Toronto, right? Okay, yeah, the 2 nights in a row, exactly, that's what I noticed as well. Worldwide romance, real estate trouble, oh boy, that sounds too much. So take it slow. So who is first? Who do I feel first today? You know what? It's basically happy birthdays to Cancers. I still have to post the side thing. I have to figure out how to make this whole screen. It's kind of really weird. So I have to kind of like fill it in with something because camera just goes up to this end. So let's start with water. Let's start celebrating Cancer's birthdays. Dean, you're like at the end of the Cancer, so we still have time to wish you well. And guys, if anybody's interested in my school, I'm actually taking the applications right now for, it's going to be end of August and maybe even September. It's kind of like took a lot of energy from me. I recorded, well, penultimate lesson last night while I kind of like still have one plug working. So thank you, ladies, so much. So there we go. Let's go with water. Water, what is going to, and plus, do you know, on the 7th we already are in the Mercury shadow, so that's why we are experiencing all of that. That's why I'm so afraid going in a car or anything like that, because hey, you know, I heard they have one strike against me. So 7th is going to be Mercury retrograde, and that's, I'm going to cover it again right next week. But Mercury retrograde is kind of fun because all the stuff that we somehow kind of like didn't want to work on are going to resurface. Electricity problems, transportation problems, communication problems. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be crazy busy. So let's see. Water. Judgment. Water. Oh boy. You have like 2 karma cards. Look at this. They're like, can you see this? Are you noticing what I'm noticing? Look at those Roman 10s. 10, 10, 10, 10. There is a switch towards something forward. You water signs have been dealing with something from the past. I see over here. Let me just try to see if I can zoom this for you. Something that maybe you feel very discouraged. Maybe you were dealing with some kind of a backstabber who maybe did some kind of harm, managed to do some kind of harm. Is this going? And it's kind of like recovery stage from what I see, but actually it's going to be really good. You see, this is one of my karma cards. I kind of like always see this card as well. It's kind of like procession of time where kind of like certain things are kind of going in different direction. Sometimes you land on the top, sometimes you land on the bottom, but this is kind of like strange because you're going all the way from the bottom to all the way to the top. So I guess it's a good thing in your like birthday time kind of to do it. My ex-hubby is a Cancer, and so his birthday is on the 2nd, and I don't think I'm going to call him. So we are in touch from time to time on a friendly kind of like basis, but I don't want to encourage certain things. So it's definitely going to be very karmic. You see, the Judgment card always talks about reviewing what you have done so far, reviewing what worked and what it didn't work. It's Mercury retrograde. Somebody from the past might be kind of reappearing, and you may say, you may give it a second hit, but you may say, I don't know, I just like remember still how I had to take one by one by one by one of these kind of like fellows, and it was hard. It was like really, really hard. And you know, we actually really learn when we kind of go through this kind of pain, but you also have to be careful about that Trojan horse, you know, like somebody appears so lovey-dovey, oh, I made such a big error, because it's normal. People go through life. There's even a card, 8 of Cups, that describes about that, seeking something better. We have people like that. You cannot stay the same work all the time. You want to be promoted. You want to go in some kind of new direction. And maybe somebody kind of like render you kind of like to the sidelines because, hey, you know, they had to seek themselves or something like that, and now they're coming back and realization, well, it is you. Well, that's both good and bad, right? It's kind of good that they realize, but it is going to be bad depending on how that happens. So that's going to be really, really up to you. So that's actually really, really substantial, I have to say. You know what? I can actually already go because you already have 2 majors, and 10s, by the way, are sort of 1 and 0. What that means, it's kind of something new, some new doors opening. It's kind of like that sliding doors. One opportunity will close, but another one will open, and it's going to be relating to something from your past, especially if you are dealing with any of the fixed signs, such as it's kind of interesting because Scorpio here is going to be at their best, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo, but also this card is ruled by Jupiter, and that could be a Sagittarian in a mix. And here is also very Scorpionic energy. It's going to be really deeply emotional. Oh boy, water. It's going to be fun, 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 fun. Yeah, Dean. And, but I kind of like dumped my ex. Kind of like, not only did I dump him, I kind of like left the country, left the continent. How's that? So, it was like really, really bad experience. So let's just kind of go here with Cancer. Happy birthday to Cancer. Not Pisces emotions. Oh my gosh, you Pisces and your emotions. You get really sappy. Please don't create any flooding. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't be making fun out of a bad situation, but you know, we have to sometimes make lemons in life. So some kind of lies. Look at that, Cancer. This is really connecting. You see, after this card will appear. I was really unsure which way to grasp this, so I'm going to read it to you both ways. You see, Ace of Swords upright is talking about victory. You're kind of having a major breakthrough. Things are going kind of like really well. And it's kind of like also understanding your own truth. You have pulled all of these things out, and now you're on the other side. Maybe you're going to be reassessing everything that you have been through. Maybe you're going to see things that you have been kind of like handling well, but also the things that you kind of like maybe could have done differently. And it's called right maturity when we kind of like move it further. And thank you guys for compliments on my voice, and it's usually morning voice. and that's kind of really good. Let me just get another one for Cancer. This, however, means some truth is not being told, and I think this is your challenge this week, to kind of like face the truth, your truth, somebody else's truth. Maybe you're going to confront somebody, maybe somebody is not going to be willing to come through to you, any of the variation. Yes, you know what, Cancers, most likely it's going to be booty call, or it's going to be X. This is a big sign of X coming, and somebody who, especially us North Americans, we have lots of celebrations here. It's going to be, hey, let's do it for the old good times. But that's what devil does. Hi, you're beautiful, I love you, and makes you feel really great in that moment. So maybe you're lying to yourself, guys, over something. This is not a good energy. This is energy that is like addiction. It kind of like grabs you in, you know, the moment when you try it, that's it. It's kind of like going right there if you kind of continue this way. So be very, very careful. Let me see. No, I'm not on Instago. I am Android girl. I don't like, and I'm sorry to say this is not very popular, I don't really like Apple. I used to work on Apple majority of my life, because at one point I was kind of getting this graphic design diploma, and kind of like I really don't like anything that sort of like is pompous. Kind of like I like subtle things. I drive a really nice car, but not a flashy car, but it's really nice car. So that kind of stuff. So I have a really the best Android phone and the best Android computer, or best, pardon, Windows computer. I'm trying to avoid Apple products at any cost. So let's see one more for Cancer. So no Instago for me. Knight of Rods. Yes, there is like something that's that Jupiterial energy that I see over here. Something is really going to be lots of hopping in a sack kind of a thing, guys. Lots of good times, but this kind of means this is going to pass rather quickly. It's going to be passionate, it's going to be fiery, but it might actually end well. It's all kind of good. There you go, Pleiadian Tarot. Nice to hear it. You know, one summer I was helping a friend who started a phone kind of like store, and this is the first time I kind of like met a smartphone. Up to that point I had a little Sony. It was not necessarily a flip phone, it was nice, but it was, what, smartphone? Why do I need a smartphone? I said, no, you need a smartphone. So I learned quite a bit about the phones, and he kind of like, to bribe me to work for him or with him, he gave me an iPhone. And I was devastated. I couldn't do anything on it. It was like really shocked. So he goes, well, try the BlackBerry. So I had BlackBerry for a while, and then he said, okay, now you're ready for iPhone, just do it. And then I was even more upset because I saw what BlackBerry can do, and then I went into this one. And then it was something, I think, that was called Hero 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It was like a white phone that sort of like had a sliding, almost like a shelf underneath, where you had the texting, and I fell in love. It was the first Google phone, and I never looked back. That's kind of like my story. So next one here is Scorpio. So, well, Dean also Android does. It kind of really sucks for us to kind of enjoy these benefits. These people really suffer, and it's a spiral. When I go into, I can never stop. It's kind of like really, really weird. And also, guys, did you hear it? Like, pot is legal in Canada. I am not a user, but I was reading how actually difficult it's going to be to go to the US, because apparently on the border our phone is going to be scanned to see if there's any mention of it, and if it's a mention, even if it's saying I'm not a user, basically not going to be let into a country. I don't know what is going on, and I'm inviting all the Americans to kind of like really embrace us. We are really good people in Canada. So let's see. Scorpio, you have also that Sagittarian energy coming through. Interestingly, that you got Temperance first, Hangman, and the 8 of anything else. The Flicked. Oh boy, I'm actually in a really good mood today. I'm just realizing. this is interesting, like you Scorpio getting 2 major arcana. Maybe something is getting sort of like balanced. To me, Temperance is a really lovely card, but I really don't think there is so much about Temperance here. There's more about the Sagittarian energy, sort of like a joy. Maybe you have overcome something, right? And now you're feeling good about that, because it's kind of interesting that the Scorpionic, yeah, Scorpio as well, but Sagittarian energy is really coming through it. You see, here is like this kind of like gateway, pathway. And I think my students are going to really enjoy this, kind of like it's the last lesson before the spreads. And they're going to really enjoy like the hidden meanings, or the real meanings rather to say, which when I read I don't go into that. But this is really kind of like trying to find a path to something. We're trying to kind of like connect the two sides of yourself, connect with someone, but there is like still element of feeling stuck in a spot. Maybe in order to kind of like make peace, somebody has to kind of like sacrifice something. Some sacrifices have to be made, but these sacrifices looks like will be really rewarded with this kind of like 8 of Wands. It's kind of like really good, because somebody is going to really appreciate, going to be lots of love messages or lots of loving communication, or wherever you try, it's kind of going to go in a good direction. So you're really you know, this is kind of like really sacrifice that everybody would like to make, especially when you see how well received this is. So the last one is Pisces. Let's see this like crying Pisces. Let's see what is like for the Pisces this week. What is for the Pisces this week? Pisces this week. Pisces this week. Pisces. Yeah, this one wants to come out. Pisces. No, I didn't write it. Pisces. I know how picky you are about your writing, so that's the only reason I'm saying, because I really don't care. So, how have you been, Pleiadian Tarot? I haven't seen you in a while. Kind of like we thought you kind of like left for good in the sunlight, hopefully. Pisces. Oh my gosh, look at that. You have the repetition. Pisces. And you're right. Whoever was complaining about feeling, you know, mopey. Pisces. Oh my gosh. Okay, the first card was about some kind of defensiveness. Somebody is really holding their ground. This could be you. Kind of like, look, I'm not going there, I don't want to go there. You know, this usually happens when there's quite a bit of opposition, where usually most people kind of like just cave in, like everybody's telling you, no, you shouldn't be doing this, this is not possible, you know, it is not possible until it's possible, kind of a thing. And it is something from the past, or maybe you're defensive about somebody or something from the past, which is kind of like really weird. You guys are going to go through the full range of motion, right? See, the Judgment reversed means literally doing the wrong thing. And so be really careful if this is you, that you're holding on to kind of like some kind of like really firm attitude, because it might be actually really the wrong path to follow. Right, this is showing really over here. This is to one person, it could be all about winning. Look, all about, you know, I'm right, you're wrong. And this is kind of like a black and white, where actual situation over here is very much not black and white. And it's one of these kind of like karmic situations in life where maybe you want to insist on something where actually, I would not say kind of like accepting defeat is also the way to go. But look at here, this person wins in the end, but at what cost? Everybody is kind of like broken. So you might actually win, let's call it that way, but you will lose. It's like what they call it, Pyrrhic victory, where, you know, you're sort of like really more or less interested in your own ego versus being interested in the audience or the people you are kind of like dealing with, right? So it's going to be a combative situation. I definitely want to say I think you guys will win, but it's going to be the wrong win. It's going to be something that you'll actually have to fix later. When this comes to emotions, this actually can deal with a third party. It could feel like, I mean, you wronged me, that kind of stuff, but that's not the point of the lesson. Point of the lesson is to kind of understand how that impacted your life and stop being victimized, right? So, because then they win if you're a victim, and you definitely looks like have been a victim. And sometimes the victim becomes a huge aggressor, which kind of like I see that kind of fight within maybe yourself. You first kind of like go with aggression, and sometimes we become aggressive when we want to kind of clear certain things with us. But it's weird. It's going to be really interesting, Pisces, to see that. Who got me in a car? Just like, oh, Gloria. Ah, nice to see you. So, well, you guys are going to have a really interesting time. You had this majors, like this is karma card over here, karma card here to reinforce, and 2 over here. So water signs, since we are going through water element, it's kind of going to be very, very interesting. And the full moon is in Capricorn, so it's going to be dealing with lots of kind of like grounding things, lots of maybe hidden things. Capricorn is like this devil energy. Cancer is going to feel this the most, and it's going to be really, really interesting. So also Cancer is ruled by the moon, and with what I saw, the devil, the Capricorn there, it's going to be really, really highly impacted this time around. Keep in mind also that we have 6 retrograde planets this summer. It's going to be fun this summer, really, really fun. So, who is next? Which element is next? Which element is next? I'll just have a sip of coffee, and I don't care if you hear it. Capricorn ascendant. You know, guys, you can get student readings, and student readings are only 15 bucks. So it's really nothing. They are pretty much working it for nothing, and I'm supervising pretty much for nothing. And it's kind of like really good because we are troubleshooting, and there is like no right or wrong. It just like simply is. So if you really never did tarot reading, this is a really great way to go. And of course, you still have a promo that I have, and I really don't know. I'm kind of like really iffy if I want to keep it the whole July. So let's see. While it stands on my website, it is there, because in Mercury retrograde I become very busy, and with this electricity issues, I really don't know, right? So the promo is that I upgrade you 1 level. So if it's a regular reading, I kind of get you into rush reading, meaning like for regular sorry, coffee. Instead of 2 or 3 weeks, you get it within a week. That's just like a regular price. You immediately get upgraded. If you pay for rush, you get it within 3 days, and if you pay for urgent, you get it in 24 hours. So I'm sorry, like, I mean, this really sometimes means for me working at 11 and 12 at night, but you do get it fast. So, and guys, please press like button. This is sort of like my gauge to if I should actually really spend Saturday mornings, even though I probably have to tell you, I really like the crowd here. Like, I mean, this is actually what I'm the most proud of this community. I mean, we did have one troll, right? The dean managed to shut down immediately. I don't even know what basically was said, and didn't even want to go and check, because I just don't need to kind of like go through any extra turmoil in my life. Hi, Kanzanter, how are you? Nice to see you. Camilla, good morning. Sakjavea, I am not so sure if I'm pronouncing this well. Laveritas, are you new? Hey, True Aquasan, look at this. We have people here. So since we started with water, let's go up. Let's go with Earth right now. So Earth for this week, pre-Mercury retrograde week. 4 of Swords. You guys maybe are avoiding. Wow, look at this, another 4. Okay, let me just shut up until get it all out. Now this is actually kind of interesting, because you see 4 of Swords is kind of like interesting. It's almost like a dead card, but this fellow is not dead. he just came from a battle. See, this is a knight lying down, and the idea what they had, they kind of like did build those coffins and then they went to the battle. And when they kind of like returned live, they would actually go and pray and kind of like pray and be grateful for actually having this life. It's kind of like a really interesting card, right? Because it has these 3 swords above. So there's like still issues in life, and there is like 1 down. So sort of like they have overcome something. Going in a battle can be very stressful. It's kind of like you're speeding up your karma. But when this reverses, and especially because you have 2 4s, there's going to be an issue with how you perceive the other people. This is definitely maybe checking out. It's kind of like weird, but like it's almost like turning off the phone, turning off the television, everything, just everybody kind of like leave me alone. But almost to the point kind of like I don't want to deal with anybody or with anything, going in a very much kind of air and fire energy. So you might be a little bit kind of hyperactive, but it looks like whatever you're celebrating is going to be something really fun this week. But almost like it's going to be kind of like bipolar energy, up and down all the time, from leave me alone to hey, let's do something, and so oh my god, I had too much to drink, kind of a thing, right? So it's going to be really weak. This is not good. And this is going to be the entry to the Mercury retrograde phase. Obsessing over something that you wish did not happen. It's kind of like really interesting because you cannot see it on live, but this card actually has a whole bunch of basically horoscope signs, or all of them rather to say, and planets in this kind of thing. So tarot cards are actually very targeted. This is not just a pretty picture, even though some tarot creators just make it in a pretty picture. So this woman, you know, I mean, I never did it. I never cried with having my face in my arms. I don't know. Did anybody did that? I just don't even understand what this is all about. But to me, that more or less would be kind of like sweating or a headache, kind of like emotion, where, you know, the reason when we sweat is like when we are uncertain about something, about some kind of like issues that we just cannot overcome. But to me, this card generally should mean that we keep coming back to the same problem because there is no solution. So I see, Brooklyn, you do. So yeah, that's okay. So it is grief. To me, this is more like anxiety. To me, is more like not finding the tunnel, not finding the way out. Because this is saying, look, this is the darkest before the dawn. That's one of those things. Maybe crying is like what the doctor needs to prescribe here. Crying has the purifying thing, but sort of like allowing yourself to feel the mourning over something. Maybe something is going to reach surface because maybe you kind of like put things away in order to function. Some of you earth signs maybe put a really happy face toward the others, but when you come into the privacy of your own home, you kind of like lose that energy. And I'm really sorry if this is like what this kind of here talks about. So which one is first? The first one, I had a cry this past Tuesday. I usually cry when I'm like frustrated. I rarely kind of cry out of pain because it's just I clamp up and walk away. Cannot deal with this. For once it's promising, but yes, but in this combination, you see, this is kind of like where is the tricky part with tarot. It's not so much about learning individual cards, but it's really learning how they interact. So this is not so positive given the other 2 cards. It's actually even telling me there is some kind of escapism, and at least for a moment it's going to be happiness. So I would say, guys, if you get into one of those moods, really go ahead and escape, because it's still better than being in one of those 2. And the solution would be being around other people who appreciate you, being around other people who understand you. Sort of like, usually this actually really talks about going the next step, moving forward. So you, to some extent, you understand that you are going through the process of learning, but it's still kind of coming back to cleanse. But this is the last phase, and almost looks like that you'll be entering this Mercury retrograde with sort of like a really good understanding of the path and everything that you have been through. So the very first one is Taurus. Taurus. Oh, there's this fan. Oh my gosh, it's already starting to heat up. I'm going to darken this place. You know, like some of these buildings here, I start seeing that they're putting the aluminum foil. I mean, you're sure, like, really have to be out there to do that. So, on the windows. So, I mean, this is how hot it is. So, Taurus. 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 How it does, sunshine girl? Taurus. Taurus. We have good card, good news for Taurus. Let's see one more or whatever we get. Oops. Oh my god, why is this? How many cards will be here? Six of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles reversed, Five of Swords. So I'm not going to read this card by card, guys. I'm just going to give you the opinion. The Tower reversed, the Hermit. I mean, I'm seeing the repetition over here, to be really honest with you. I'm seeing that you are feeling internally that maybe somebody did the right thing and you're not seeing it that way. Maybe you're feeling really defeated. Maybe you are kind of like thinking, oh, just if this happened, everything would kind of like work out. You know, like we all have this kind of situation. You see, there's like this tendency of pulling in kind of like into your inner kind of role. We have this another 9, even stronger, and issue with healing over something that is hurting, or something that just couldn't restart or didn't start properly, kind of a thing. You see, there's this 9. This is like should turn, but the reason why it's not turning is because of this Tower. There is like the essence over here that the balance does not exist in life, in the relationship, and hence it's kind of creating some form of turmoil where unfortunately you see in your environment that things are not working out, but you're somehow maybe assigning this, and hence that's why this card kind of like it's crowning it, not able to find a way out, which Hermit is really looking for this kind of like wisdom and for things that can happen. You see, the Tower reversed is always saying you don't even see it. Things are collapsing, things are not working out, but you have a really hard time understanding and seeing it. So Taurus will really go up and down, and maybe you're really almost blaming somebody for rendering some kind of decision, but this is not to apologize to anybody. I'm just giving you the insight. They really felt they're doing the right thing. So it's kind of like their heart was in the right place, but maybe the solution was not the one for you, because it's kind of like that. Really, relationships are hard, guys. This is not an easy thing to do. You're doing through lots of shifting. You're coming back, and so there is a space over here that is not going to be fun. I will not sugarcoat this for you, my dear Taurus. It's not going to be fun, and you might be spending some time where you just don't want anybody around you, and in a sense that's actually going to be good, because you're going to be shifting from this kind of like turmoil into seeking truth to yourself, for yourself, and it's going to be about something emotional here needs to be done. And if you really kind of like start looking, because the Hermit is a really good card, it's the card of God, it's the guidance, it's like where we are going, it's like solitude done for a reason. It's kind of like, look, let's not try to kind of spin those wheels and go in some direction. I have to find these answers for myself. Looks like you were trying to maybe seek those answers elsewhere, but these answers actually do exist within you. There's also a sense over here that there is a level, you see, this kind of does talk about some kind of level of commitment, but that commitment is kind of broken in your situation over here. You do have lots of earth. You're going to be in your element, so this is really, really good. And you see this Eight of Cups already means that you have tried to kind of like try to work on things differently, and it kind of didn't work. You're coming back, and that's why it's that feeling of being stuck. And I'm really sorry to say this, Taurus, and maybe I should, if I can find it. Let me find this one. Let me find, because whenever something is really a difficult week, and then let me just pull another card just to sort of like give advice. Okay, advice for Taurus. Yeah, Dean, I absolutely agree. Like, I mean, it's kind of like really weird. You cry your eyes out, year later you don't even remember this person, because like you kind of like really learn to grow out of this experience. So it's kind of like really, we have to put things in perspective. So let's see for Taurus. And you have higher power. Wow. So let me just see. And it's another 4. So it's going to be about stabilizing yourself. Looks like that somebody pushed you out of balance, and kind of like you're not grounded, and grounding is the earth energy, so this is really important. So this is what it says. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. It is time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power, called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. You need to kind of recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your #1 priority. So it's like the Hermit. Like, isn't this is a very much God energy for you guys coming out, or that universal energy? You need to really connect with your own soul. That's what it's saying. It says, it continues, the appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. You need to tend to your spiritual connection and remain aware of your true nature. So I really hope this at least kind of like gave you a little bit of kind of like relief that this is all done for a reason. Kind of like, I don't know if you're religious. I kind of like really don't like Book of Job, but that's kind of a thing. You're being tested because maybe you need to be pushed to the next level, which somebody needs to make sure that the lesson is learned here. Virgo, 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 Virgo. Hi Renata, nice to see you. Virgo, 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 Virgo. You know, true Aqua Sun, fake people. Yeah, there are many fake people, but there are also many real people, and that's why I kind of like this community that kind of vibrates and it's supportive of each other. Hi Camellia, deep thinker. The point is, you guys read this book, The New Earth. It's kind of showing that there's going to be complete split. If you actually even see the teeny little thing of this meanness in the other people, they do not belong in spiritual world, and no matter how much you like everything about them, walk away. You cannot change them. They would really have to prove it to you, and that's how you gauge. It's kind of like really, really important. Renata, I know, I just gave them the whole thing. It is like so hot, like this is ridiculous. So Virgo, 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 Virgo. Ooh, Virgo. Who put the baby in a corner? Oh boy, Virgo. You're all in your head. You're all, oh my gosh, for the combination. I can literally feel the pain. It's just like, I just like couldn't breathe for a second. Like, first of all, check your health. When it comes to Virgo, who is really health oriented, if you're doing exercise and you're in good health, do not push yourself too much. Make sure that you have one of those watches that kind of like check your heartbeat. But this actually really can talk about those emotional pains or some kind of rejection that is still dwelling. It could mean the third party issues that are highly affecting. Look at that. Yes, absolutely. There is like some kind of essence of somebody else affecting you at this time in a negative way, kind of like going through the worst, hoping for the best, and keeps cycling. Look at this. There's like again that cycling energy. Here we have also the infinite sign kind of hidden in there. We have also that 4 hidden here as well. So Virgo, somebody put you out of basically balance big times. You have been really, really hurt, and maybe by someone who you thought was your friend, maybe somebody who actually was a person who you really want to have something with. This is really not a good place to be. This is kind of going in the past, and maybe you don't have an option. Maybe you have to deal with the past because it's still kind of like so ever present. You guys are really coming through over here. Or maybe the simple card means, look, just ask for sort of like a shelter, you know, like in a hot day you have to kind of like find this cool shelter. Here maybe you have to find shelter being surrounded with friends, being surrounded with people who will hear you out, because at the very least it might stop this circle, because this is like trying to hold the world from spinning and saying, oh, I was happy back then and I don't want this to kind of like go away. It's impossible, and it's going to just create frustration and pain. So let me just see here for you, message in a bottle. And it's a 15 card, and a 15 is sort of like a codependence energy, and again talks about the exes as well, to put it in perspective with the reading. So let me just see what they say. Communication issues, blockages, spirit sends you signs when you ask for them. Yeah, this is, keep in mind guys that all these swords are very spiritual energy, and sometimes that energy is not really loving, like that we're not always kind of like sugar and spice. So this energy sentence comes in a way because when it's harsh you kind of actually learn faster, right? So it says simply that you need to connect with this, and kind of like you need to focus on positive news, and if you need to release anything, make it in the form of a letter, phone call, email, or I guess a text. If you are intended receiver of this message, kind of stay open to what you're going to learn. Maybe you guys have received some kind of like message, because this is what it says under protection. Either refusing to acknowledge the signs because you want things as you want them. Red flags are not pretty decorations for you to admire. They are warning, and it's a big red kind of flag here. They are warning you for a reason. If something doesn't sit right with you, trouble could be hiding in the bushes. Don't ignore the signs. Spirit always has your best interest at heart and will draw your attention to what you are overlooking. Oh boy, Earth. What's going on? And which one is the last one? Capricorn. Capricorn. So we are not going to see earth signs very much this week. I have a feeling they're just simply going to withdraw, unless, you know, like if we see somebody who is very happy, then we have to be very very loving with these people, because they really actually are out there because they need to escape something that they are really going through. So let's see, Capricorn. True Aqua Sun, go on meetup site, try to find some stuff that is interesting to you, meet with people on shared interest. There you go, Mercury retrograde, Capricorn. Mercury retrograde calling. Oh my god, again excess coming up. Again, you're really thinking about something that didn't work, and that's kind of like that stuck energy. Maybe there was a cheating, but maybe it wasn't. The simple says that something couldn't be built, and you're still having a fond memories of some kind of like something. This could be also about somebody from a long time ago. Usually this card tells me two things: whether somebody who maybe was even in high school with you, or early university, right, where you kind of like experience this like very pure emotions of love, or that this is literally what you start to experience even when you're adult, something really with a high purity. But it looks like this is all kind of thoughts. This also could be about children and issues with children, or some kind of like kind. You have like three flavors. You have cups, you have wands, and you have pentacles. So you're kind of like experiencing kind of like, I would say, melancholy or a little bit nostalgic, kind of like a week, which I guess for comparison with these two, it's going to be much easier kind of to sail than being Taurus or Virgo. So, oh boy, I'm really sad for everything that's happening over here. So just a quickie break, because I want to clean the card. This was a really heavy energy, and I really feel it. So let me just put stuff. So the next one will be fire, because that's the next element up. So let me have a sip of coffee and just a second of kind of like redistributing this energy. So see what is for fire happening. And again, guys, please get student reading. The information is, I hope, down in it. Also, if you haven't heard your annual Taroscope, this is kind of like a really good way to check it, because I put all the links over there to kind of like do. It's kind of weird. I got actually a message from somebody yesterday, and the message was, you know, I don't want to change my preferences. And I said, what is this all about? And I'm just getting a message back. She said, I have no idea. So see, that's how Mercury retrograde kind of like works. Just like, what the heck is going on? Okay, fire. 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 Hi from Michigan. Oh my gosh, I have lots of Michigan here. Michigan. Okay, fire. Fire. What's going to happen for this like pre-mercurial week? Fire. 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 Oh my gosh. The Wheel of Fortune. That was like with water, right? Three of, there you go. I have three of wands. Fire. So I guess I have to look at it this way. This clearly talks about trying to get into a new cycle, and kind of like currently enjoying some happiness, currently maybe enjoying some proceedings, because this is my card of ships. We have hardships as well, but also relationships, partnerships, friendships. It's a strong Scorpio energy, guys, over here. There's also strong Tower energy. Something is simply going to go downhill this week, right? Because something that you thought is already kind of planned, it's already kind of going forward, will all of a sudden kind of like come to doubt, kind of like come to worry into kind of like which direction to go. The walls will get erected in the sense that, you know, I cannot bridge something. This card is interesting because we always have something old and something new, but like when it kind of like reverses, something from the past is kind of like resurfacing. Well, hello to Mercury retrograde. There is Mercury card. It's going to be really affecting you. So guys, this can just simply be emotionally that you are really you're really kind of like playing with the matches right now. It's kind of like really Tower energy, but it's also death energy, that kind of like some. And I guess when you have these two cards together, it means you will be given opportunity to deal with something yourself, and if you don't, you know, karma is simply going to step in and say, I'm going to deal with this. The Magician energy is sort of like sometimes either convincing yourself into something which kind of like creates conflict and something that just cannot be, or some kind of like syrupy kind of explanation comes from the outside over something that you well know it's not true, but somebody's like so aggressive, continuing with their own kind of like belief that this is kind of like really getting annoying. Because like this kind of like would be really good if this is the last one, if we're kind of like shifting in the new one. So baby, be very careful what, you know, decisions you make this week, because that can actually be that you can end up making a wrong decision. Whatever this is, love, do not purchase any cars, because that's not going to be good at all, because the Magician Mercury rules that. Absolutely no computers, no cars, no phones. And I'm really hoping that this is not going to come in the air, because it's also going to be electricity. So let's go. Which one is the first? Aries, 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 Aries. Silly, you can kind of like, you have the red kind of like bar on the bottom. You can just kind of like go back and check it, because I left this open so people can go back and forth. Maybe I should remove this, because maybe that's what is slowing down sometimes the reception. Aries, for this pre-Mercury period. And no, I'm not taking millions of cards. Well, I don't know. I guess I should when the Aries really wants to come out. Isn't this like really Aries-like coming through it? Like it's going to be a bundle of issues being dropped literally in front of you. So it's going to be getting through the crap, literally. This is kind of like, what is the truth? It's kind of like, and Aries kind of like deals this kind of like with issues head on. It's going to be something that maybe needs a second look, second kind of attention. And what else you have? The Chariot. Whoa. Oh my gosh, transportation problems. Be very, very careful driving. Be very kind of careful, even if you are on an overloaded public transportation. Things might not end well. This actually also can talk about clashing issues. Look at this, one step forward, one step back. You have another page. You might have issues with children, but you might be, it's kind of like talking about either kind of like maybe fake friends, some kind of betrayal of something that you want to go forward. So hence kind of like withdrawal, which is kind of like very unusual for Aries. It's going to be sacrificing energy, but in your case, the sacrifice, well, don't think it was done for nothing. It was done for you to try if things can actually work and if things can happen. It's going to be maybe that you're accused of wrongdoing, or you are going to realize that something or somebody has done something behind your back. It's a very shadowy, very, very negative energy. And look at how many swords you have over here in a reading. So it's going to be definitely a week where you're going to really try. I really see how much you're trying to make actually really lemonade out of these lemons, but it is kind of like really unfortunate that, you know, you're actually going to do everything right, but it's not necessarily going to get you anywhere. So this is one of those really critical situations, because that's why there is a karma card. It usually throws you a situation where we always usually deal with that in our 3D kind of human 21st century 2018 world. Oh, you know, I have to figure out how this works best for me. Karma doesn't think that way. Karma thinks, okay, let's work it out. How is this best for you, for the lesson that you have in this life, right? And that's kind of like really, really interesting. And that's the Hangman, is basically giving you this opportunity to see things from a different standpoint, and maybe something that you are thinking I'm dead right on it, kind of like address it kind of like differently. So that's kind of going to be very, very interesting over here. All right. You know what? Let me pull one card for you, because this is not necessarily very negative, but it's going to be very unusual for Aries, because Aries is very Aries doesn't kind of like have a major strategy. Aries has a really kind of like focused kind of like tendencies. So I'm going from this point to this point, and this is really what is important right now. Why are you sidetracking me, kind of a thing, right? But here is going to be lots of that sidetracking where, you know, in the end I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I give up, I just don't know. Like, look at these two fours. The same thing came out for what? For Earth. So you might be dealing with the Earth sign over here, and maybe it's going to be kind of like a lack of collaboration. It's going to be really, really interesting. But the Hangman is also God, kind of like in tarot, and this kind of like inverted position is, it's kind of like symbolizing that, you know, we kind of surrender ourselves to experiences, and that's the basically lesson that has to be done. Something will definitely go off the rails. I just want to make sure that's not a car. So let me just see here. You have the card that is called Blessed. And interestingly enough, I was just telling you have fours. Let me see, what is this whole energy? 1, 8, 8 and 8, 16 and 7, 23, 33, 35. Yeah, it's about 8 energy, and 8 is about inner strength and persistence. And here you have another 4. You have 22. So let me just see what this is all about. Is it possible that you may be focusing too much on other people right now, trying too hard to be helpful? Does taking on what belongs to others make you feel needed or desired? Perhaps you think it is your calling to relieve people of their burdens, but what's the cost to you and to them? Don't clean up someone else's side of the street. You're not helping by freeing him or her of responsibility. That kind of makes sense. You're also not doing yourself any favors, and you just might be adding an even greater strain. You're loved as you are. You don't need to be needed to be loved. And that's kind of like really interesting advice, because Aries does need to be needed. They kind of like that huge, enormous energy they have is kind of like really, really important in their life. So, Leo. Ooh. It's kind of like was really stuck. Something is stuck. There is like a third party here with Leo, or some kind of like sense of rejection. So here is like something that has this kind of like time effect, you know, like time kind of like maybe is picking up things from the past, giving it some Mercury retrograde. Let me just see. Leo, 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 Leo. Oh my gosh, I'm also getting 25 cards over here. So it's a big reading today. It's courtesy of my landlord that is not fixing my electricity. You know what? This is what happens when you're rich, and you really are being rich by actually taking advantage. And I really feel karmically these people are going through a really actually harsh exercise. Okay, Leo. Oh my gosh, you're going through a whole bunch of things. You are definitely, look at this. Who had this combination? That was like Earth, right? There is like a complete sense that some kind of uprooting feeling, a sense of lack of nurturing that you're maybe right now in, that you're kind of starting this week. There is like some kind of like sense of rejection, or a feeling that things are not coming. You're going to feel that Mercury retrograde. You have like this 6 of Cups, but you also have the Lover's card. So there is like this essential, as I call it, soulmate energy over here, but you kind of like, you're not sure you want to continue with this. It's kind of like really bizarre energy over here. You have everything seemingly, but you kind of don't want it, because both of these cards are sort of like you're making a breakthrough, you're going forward, there is a choice you make, and then all of a sudden after making the choice you're saying, I don't know, maybe this is not the best for me, and here is this, like I have to figure out what works best for me. It's kind of interesting also having this 8 card, which kind of relates to your strength card, and this is your card as well. Even though there are going to be lots of up and downs in this week, you somehow, it's kind of like almost every layer ahead. Look, it is down, up, weird, neutral. It's going to be really yo-yo week, if I really have to call it, right? It's going to be a week where you actually are going to honor yourself. You need to kind of like see, look at these two cards, eye to eye with someone. You literally need to. And it is kind of like about you. It's about possibly a relationship. It's possibly about your marriage. It's possibly about your children. And there are lots of things that will be resurfacing. You might even feel again that you want to isolate yourself, but isolation is not going to do you good. You're going to just feel really, really, really lonely. So Leo, you're going to be actually having some breakthroughs, but it's going to be lots of emotions. Oh my gosh, like an ocean of emotions over here. I'll grab the card for you as well. Mending. Yeah, that's really, when one word has to summarize this, that's a lovely word to do that. So let me read this one for you. Lovely. It says, heartbreak is a strange healer of souls. Our grief strips away our masks and loosens our tight hold on our separateness. I cannot read. Where we view ourselves as I and the world as it. Loss allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger scheme. Opening. Kind of hard to do it with one hand. Opening us up to sympathy, empathy, and dependence on others in the moment when we can hold ourselves together. And it leads us to become one with a greater whole again. Pain and suffering is part of life, and none of us will be immune to it. Can you view this loss, this pain, this dissonance as a way back to source? Let your sorrow break your heart wide open. You will never be left behind. You are loved, and I can see it here now more than ever. Not only by the others, but also by Spirit, who does not want you to feel alone. And you see that, so you need to remind yourself, if you start feeling alone, one day you will look back and know this truth. So that's sort of like, to me, the silver lining, right? Where we see this here on this kind of clouds. It's kind of like a really interesting energy over here, Leo. Almost like you're getting to the essence of who you really are. Thank you very much, Royal Sagittarius. Greatly appreciate it. So, let's see. We have over here, the last one is Sagittarius. 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 Sagittarians. Thank you. Thank you for this pre-Mercury week. Pre-Mercury week for Saggies. Pre-Mercury week for Saggies. Pre-Mercury week for Saggies. Sagittarians are going to have, look at this, issues with their home life, with their relationships, with their family. There is like this cutting off some kind of like connection, maybe something that at a time kind of like felt as a soulmate connection, and it's going to, and it simply can be symbolic, it could be spiritual, when you kind of like really stop thinking about it, because this is really relating to this card, and you Sagittarians kind of ruling this card. I'm specifically looking for these cards when it comes to, and again the 2 is repeating for you. There's like definitely that essence over here of a loss. It's going to be highly unstable period. The Ace of Swords is good. It's a kind of karma card. This karma is telling you that you need to kind of cut certain things off, because something here is like very destabilizing, and it is not about winning. This was like something very sexual, but it could be one of those sexual things that turn into love. But maybe that love was the love that kind of like was not able to be realized, because I see possibly 3 people over here, and I see somebody really feeling wounded, and it, to me, this card always means being shunned, not being accepted. Some kind of behavior has been really frowned upon, kind of a thing. So it sounds to me that there was a really harsh decision made over here, which was made maybe in the interest of everybody else. Oh, hi, Dean, thanks. But that decision was heartbreaking. There's like something, oh my gosh, I have to pull the card. You see, this is kind of like weird energy, but it's also good energy. Something is being cut off, at least you know where to go, kind of a thing. And I just like want to see how is this relating to this kind of energy. Who is manipulating who over here? Let me see. Message for Saggy. Message for Saggy. Bianca. I love that name. Love that name. That's actually Secret. That's my first name. And Catherine is my middle name. So, buy the book. 11. There is like some kind of healing. Look, that would be next stage going into 11. You guys are never buy the book. So let's see what this means. Oh, karma. As I told you, there is like something really karmic happening. It says, now it is the time for, lift it up to you. Look at those pretty kind of like elephants over here. Now it is a time for a real change in consciousness, as you are incited to revolt. Challenge the structures that are limiting authentic progress. It is not enough to rebel in small ways. This is a call to revolution. Focus on what you really want to achieve, regardless of whether it feels so far outside of the box that the established order may reject it. Genius, invention, and transformation are rarely comfortable and less likely to be accepted by the mainstream. It may be time for you to say no to the way of your group, take a stand, and make real changes. It could be that the structure of your inner world is alerting you to the need of a complete overhaul. This is a time for transformation. So let go of the fear of change. Your intuition will lead you through the darkness. There is no turning back now. Yes, I really don't think so, because that's the fast, kind of like moving in the light. Trust that light will dawn. Epiphanies will surely lead to miracles. That's going to be a healing week for you guys. Maybe from something, this maybe has been something from the past. And even though maybe this kind of like was the past, happy, something has happened. It could be even that you Sagittarius have tried to manipulate things to make them work, and by doing that, things actually really kind of exploded. It's very interesting fire, guys. You guys have, look, you have 22, you have 11, and you have 52. So like, I mean, master number, and a 7, which is very spiritual. This week is going to be a breakthrough week for you, and it's not going to be easy at all, but breakthrough is never easy. Breakthrough comes after lots of work and lots of frustration, and it's going to happen for all of you. So buckle up, guys. Really buckle up over here. So it's going to be really interesting. Now, Catherine is my middle name. My first name is actually Bianca, believe it or not, but I rarely use it. I mean, I need to use it officially, because even people never use it Bianca. They always call me B, kind of a thing. So last, let me have a sip and just a quick clean. Boy, this is getting really intense. It started so well with water, and it was not that great, but like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, what's going on? I'm actually really right now terrified of doing air. Yeah, Kimberly, I'm kind of like nervous as well. No, don't call me that way, because I'm kind of not used to it. Like, I mean, unless B kind of like is short, but usually, well, you see, I'm being called B and C words. So there you go. What can I say? Air. Air. Oh, Bianca, I'm so sorry to hear that. Air. Yes, please sage the cards. Let me kind of dance around the table and stuff. Air. What's happening with air? Air. Air. Cancer was the very first. You should just take this red bar on the bottom and just kind of find it in the beginning of the reading. Aw, that's so sweet of you, Dean. Okay, air. 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 Oh, look at that. Air is getting air. Air. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Air is entirely air. Look at these cards. You know what? This is good. It's all good. We are getting up. We have been maybe feeling down. Usually when energy cards show up, this means something was lacking, right? So you have Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords. Look at it. It's coming really through, like all of the signs. The Ten of Swords, like something really bogged us down. And maybe we have been the subject of the other people's intrusions, because look at these 2 tens. But boy, we are no victims anymore. We are kind of like turning things around. This is that fix, kind of like we are going to look the best in all people. We are going to be able to find kind of the wisdom in every words we hear, even in our bad words. You're going to not to myself. You know, when people ask me in the past, my bosses will say, oh, did you ever learn anything from me? I say, oh yeah, I did a lot. But what I didn't say, I learned a lot of things that I don't want to do, kind of a thing, right? So turning a new kind of a new chapter in life for sure. Queen of Swords is saying, okay, you know what? I battled, and I battled fiercely for being who I am. Because she's kind of calm, but look at this. This kind of past is staying in the past, and she's kind of like lifting this arm, kind of like we are kind of like moving forward right now, guys. It is time. It is time. Get the F up, right? And when you do that, look, the life is there to engage you. This is really good news, guys. And in a long time, you know, I didn't really see it as this kind of like really positive. And plus, we are going to be air and swords all the way. Swords are very spiritual. Swords are very action oriented, and it looks like maybe there was like this kind of like stuck in a rut kind of like sense. Maybe there was like a lethargic feeling. Maybe there was like, that's what actually I had the last week. Oh my god, the last 2 weeks I was like so tired, and it was like really hard, migraines and everything. And like, no, that's the end of this. We are going to become really kind of that bing 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 energizer bunny, right? It's going to happen. Whew. So Gemini, let's see, Gemini, how are you going to feel? Oh, look at this, it doesn't want to mix. Okay, come on, come on. It's like humidity that I'm feeling in here. I better put this card somewhere, because air condition is supposed to remove that humidity, but it's not working while I'm doing this because it would be blasting sound. Yeah. Okay. Gemini for this pre-mercurial period. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. You know what, Gemini, you kind of like really want to move forward, like slow and steady. It's not going to be in a sort of like enormous way. Maybe it's going to be a little slower, but it's kind of like really interesting that maybe you're still dealing with something from the past. There's like this sense of maybe some kind of like rigid. Maybe you are controlled in a way by the structure. Maybe you're controlled by another person. Maybe you're controlled by family or something. You really, giving this lesson that we are seeing over here, need to kind of like leave this emotional stuff in the background. And I can talk to you this way because you are air sign. I cannot talk this way to any other sign. Like when I tell people, you know what, like, I mean, stop it. And I go like, what do you mean? Like, I'm feeling this way. Of course, with air signs, I can talk about this. I can say, listen, you literally have to engage your mind, because this is kind of going nowhere. You are not seeing this, all these beauties. It's kind of like this darkness needs to stop, and I think you actually really will. How? By actually making small steps forward. Page of Pentacles is kind of that stuff. You know what? Let me just take care of this next minute. Let me not think about this big thing. So that living in the now is like really over here, showing that you will say, look, you know what, I have lost before, I have battled, but look, I am still here. I am betting on me. And when you kind of like realize that, that's really going to be a good way forward. So let me just grab a card for you. Even though this is not bad, I just like want to address this Five of Cups. Why are you going into this energy? To kind of like get clarity. The guy who spilled the cups doesn't know to turn around. Exactly. He's not seeing that there are other people, there are other circumstances. Oh, are you stuck on why question, Gemini? Any Geminis that I have over here? Who is stuck on? And that's really getting stuck when I'm dealing with clients. But why? And why? And why? Because people are jerks. That's why. That's a short answer. Unfortunately, to get to that solution, you really need to work it in your system. So let me tell you a protection message on this one. And I don't know if you see this. My camera looks like it's being oriented properly, but then it looks weird. It says, sometimes subconsciously denying the truth that may drive you toward a specific outcome that actually aligns with an intention hidden from your awareness. For example, you may want to be prominent in your profession, but your desire is not really about sharing your talents, but about making yourself feel better, because fame would cause people to admire and approve of you. Or you might want to reunite with a partner who rejected you because you believe that your love continues to be strong, but deep down, your really desire is to have the last word with that person. Now it is the time for deep soul searching of the why that drives your choices. What you uncover will set you free and bring you ever closer to the happiness you seek. So, why did that happen? Really, guys, you can really move forward. This is saying again, 31, just ground yourself, keep doing small things, keeping busy. That's kind of going to be the path forward. So Dean, that's a really good attitude, absolutely good attitude. I mean, people, I have to say, you know, people say, oh, you hate this sign, or you hate this sign. Actually, I don't. I never read the sign according to the signs around me. And I just like really had wonderful readings for people who, with whom of that sign I was going through traumatic experiences myself, because I just simply read the cards and trying to tell you what I see in it, which is the truth, the way I see it. So when I read the comments, of course, for every sign, there are good, there are bad people, and also there are good people who are going through the bad circumstances, who are doing the wrong decisions. That's why these karma cards are always saying, look, there is like now your way and your time to, you're able to turn this wheel, if you're able to turn this forward. Oh my gosh, Wheel of Fortune means big changes are coming. Okay, listen to me also, what I forgot to tell you, play lottery, guys. It's going to be from a small to a big win. This is like really projected well for air signs. So, all right, so let's see who is next. We have Libra. Libra. Oh my gosh, Libra. Libra is getting kind of choice. Libra, as usual, look at this 11 that is hiding over here. Libra is saying, oh my gosh, Dean, I think this is you coming through it. Libra is saying, look, yeah, you know what, I am not going to kind of like go for any relationship that is really not the best for me. If you are not matching up to that kind of like, not necessarily ideal, but sort of like that path that I have been working so hard and so kind of like steadily on, I am kind of like not moving forward with this. This also could mean that Libra might need some kind of like solitude and time off, from a relationship. It's going to be maybe getting kind of harsh words from the partner. Okay, what a man, what's going on? We kind of like should be spending some time together. So it's going to be kind of like definitely Libra and duality energy. But it could also mean that somebody from the past might come through and that you're going to shred this person into pieces. Because maybe somebody wronged you in the past, and that's taking these other cards in consideration. And you're saying, you know what? It's better to be alone and solo and happy than being with somebody and being miserable. That's clearly what I see over here. So it's going to be interesting. So I don't know how this resonates with Libra, but Hermit is a God card. Hermit is like, look, I need to find what is really important for me. So don't be too picky, but sort of like go and focus on the major things. And let's go to Aquarius. Sugar comes last. Aquarius, please give us some kind of like glimpse into something good. Aquarius. Who's Aquarius? Oh my gosh. And again, Aquarians will be dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. Jesus. Look at this. We have yet another 10 here for Aquarians. 10 of Wands. Again, somebody from the past might reappear, or there is like finally laying down sort of like the issues, the secrets. It's becoming complete clarity that certain things could not be a go. The Fool is like that. Okay, let me start again. Here, let me recognize and enjoy myself. It's very much like Libra, this kind of energy. You know what? I'm going to treat myself to a spa. I'm going to treat myself to something nice. Putting things in balance with reservation. Kind of like, yeah, I am not out there flying, screaming and stuff. Spending time with friends. Oh my gosh. Look at lots of 9 energies. Ooh, there is Aquarian coming out over here. You know what? This is going to be time of reckoning. I literally, what I'm picking up as I was putting down the cards, Jesus, really thick bundle, was this card. That we are pulling out one by one sword. And you know what? It is hurting. It is hurting when you pull it out. But at the same time, you know that you're healing, and each time you're putting band-aid on it. So we're going to kind of realize that we have to take this whatever harm, the wound, and finally cleanse it. And it's going to be a process where, yes, there is realization. There is a realization that we need to move forward. We need to clean some kind of energy. It's kind of really interesting that there is repetition of Queen of Swords over here. And the bad news are these 2 cards. The Hangman, which also is very much God energy. It's kind of like sacrifice. Maybe it is realization that maybe some sacrifices made in the past actually have not been welcome and actually only spirals us down. But who is to blame? Because the Devil card, when it shows up, it says, look, maybe we sometimes want to condition other people to do certain things for us by us quote-unquote sacrificing. So it's saying, look, maybe it was done out of manipulation, or if it wasn't done out of manipulation, then you know what, we need to work on some kind of like level of codependencies, that we actually do things. Because like, this is why this card is coming over here. You know, doing the right thing is not good enough. Yes, sure, it is a good kind of like character building thing, but it has to kind of like take other people in account. And whether this was us rendering it to somebody else or somebody doing to us, the lesson was wasted. Lesson was not learned. And the Aquarians kind of card, the Star, is now reversing. You know, this is kind of like a card of high optimism, but that high optimism is always optimism somewhere in the future kind of a thing. Since this is kind of like coming almost like toward the end of the week, it is really saying that it's kind of like all issues will resurface, because these 2 9s are sort of like really important, and they're saying, look, crap happens. Really, it could be that It's definitely, I see here a third-party person, that it was a relationship that has been in the past, that has been impossible, that has damaged a lot, created lots of arguments, lots of these swords had to be pulled out. It was a partner who was like equally stubborn, equally fierce, and but also the partner who was actually a real friend. This was a message from the above. This partner came to our life as a karmic soulmate. This person came to our life because there was a lesson to learn that, like, unconditional giving is not the way to go. Lesson to learn was how much do you give and where do you kind of like call it to stop. And it looks like this unconditional giving was simply just spiraling down and going out of proportion. I do actually see here a Virgo. I do see here Sagittarius. I do see here Capricorn. I see air signs. So I don't know, like, if you have been involved with any of that signs. It's kind of like interesting that we have this Earth kind of like reappearing, so this is kind of grounding a little bit more. But this kind of is good. At the end of the week, we are literally saying, just like as I said, it's going to be, look, I have dealt with it. It's going to be the final rinse for Aquarians. The truth is that the lesson hasn't been learned, and maybe we really insisted on being right. Aquarians are very kind of fixed sign, and Aquarians are here. So the lesson here is to kind of learn what brings us happiness and what doesn't bring us happiness. With these 3 tens, things are going to be starting moving forward, and we are just dropping something and understanding that very thing that we kind of claimed it was that we did and contributed was the thing that actually was not supposed to be done. It's almost going to be the other way around, kind of like twist. So let me just get a message for Aquarians. So yeah, giving too much, you're telling to the universe, no, I don't need this. Look, I'm just giving this away. The universe goes, okay, you don't get love. Because it almost looked like really deserving love over here. And neglecting what's going on in life, friends, kind of, there is like this blocking energy. So the healing needs to take place, and it's going to happen differently. It's going to happen through realization. I need to literally start moving forward. So let me see the card. One card for Aquarians. Kimberly. Yes, after 33 years of marriage, I'm finally putting myself first. Good for you. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, you should go through marriage school or relationship school. I don't know, like, we are having this as so much in our life, and nothing like that exists, and people have children. They don't know how to have, you know. Of course, my ideas are a little bit out there. I know that. Aquarians, give me a message for Aquarians. Co-create. Wow, and look at this cheetah and owl. Love it. Stabilization. Was it something destabilizing? We'll see. This is what it says. Are you trying too hard to create all that you desire without the nurturing, vital force of spirit? Perhaps you are in a creative slump, suffering writer's block, facing a monumental task, but unable to decide on your first step. So you just avoid doing anything. Yep. Does the word overwhelmed apply to you right now? Why do you think it has all to come down to you? Inspiration means the drawing in of divine guidance. You must tap into spirit, not simply yourself. Ask spirit for inspiration. 2 minds are greater than 1, so co-create with your divine partner. Reclaim your partnership with spirit, and inspiration will flow through you as soon as you get out of your own way. That kind of like really summarize it really, really nicely. So guys, it's going to be, I would say, very good week, even though the messages could have been really domineering certain signs. But I really think that it's almost like a big shift to the better. We are kind of like clearing some kind of karmic debts, and that's kind of like, if you really think, it's like exactly half of the year. Not that the spirit works this way, okay, it's the 1st of July and I'm kind of doing this, but almost like looks like there's a, it's a year number 11 we are saying, okay, you know what, we need to resolve some karmic things, and we are kind of like moving forward from this point on. So I really hope you kind of like are going to take this and going to kind of work on yourself and just let the universe do the rest. Thank you so much. I'm going to go back and turn my air conditioner on and darken my place to prevent the sun coming through it. No card for Libra. Libra, I had a good messages, but sure, I can pull one card for you if there is a request over here. So that's not a big deal. Libra, give me a card for Libra. I usually pull the card only when the messages are confusing and direction is needed. Libra, you're getting Y card. We did have a Y previously, so let me just maybe read a different chapter for this Y. 31, because if I remember, you had Two of Cups and you had the Hermit card there, which kind of is about relationships. So let's kind of focus on that. And this is what it says. No, that's not it. This is 33. We don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now it is the time to recognize whether you're being triggered by someone else or if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past. When you ask yourself, why I'm feeling this and why did I say that, and spend some more time in introspection, the answers may be surprising. Listen to the messages from your intuition, from the knowing deep within you. So I guess that's what the Hermit is, kind of like go deep inside of you. What does it tell you about yourself and others? In the end, life is all about being loved. Oh boy, that's music to your ears, Libra. Miracles and a deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasures of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partner today. Why? So there you go. Yeah, cats are okay. Oh my gosh, cats love heat. You know, a cat on a stove and cat in the sun, they really love it. So I'm going to put the music for you so you guys can still chat with each other for a few moments. And I'm off for my weekend, and hopefully you guys are going to have a beautiful week and kind of like really apply the messages and kind of like get in touch with the spirit. Love you. I wish everybody all the best, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye bye. Okay guys, I am running out, and I wish everybody a wonderful week. Love you. Bye.